You're listening to Brigade Radio 1.
Welcome to the Antisocial Show.
They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming to get you.
Your hosts, Underblock and Tyson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Antisocial Show, a show that firmly believes that Mark Hamill should finally play Chucky. I am Hunter Block, and he is
Tyson Sainer.
Hello, Tyson.
Hello, Hunter. And so people who have joined us on the video can see that Marty Yu has joined us, if they know who Marty Yu is. And yes, we're running video this time. So if you like Marty, I can actually blur this side because I realized I don't know if I mentioned that at any point.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I'm not wearing my usual wig and facial prosthetic, but I will go along with this if however you want to do it.
I appreciate that. I mean, we could all wear wigs if I had one. I'm sure I've got something around here that'll pass.
Wait, you wear a wig?
Just a little tube on the front, you know.
A tube. I like that. That's okay. So on the something always makes me think of something else. The roast of William Shatner, Comedy Central, about I don't know, 10, 15 years ago now. George Takei. I know it's Takei because he gave a speech at the roast and he said it's Takei. It rhymes with to pay. Said that to Shatner. So now it's like I never forgot it because of that. So when you said toop, it's just, penny pong pong pong. There's a thought that's not relevant to anybody but me. So
Now was George actually roasting William Shatner?
Oh yeah. It was
roasting his balls and stuff.
So yes, did you see this one, Marty?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was very, very funny. He's a very funny man. And I mean, I know that he has a whole team that works on his Twitter, but he's still a very funny man. And I had the honor of meeting him once, and he could not have been more kind and friendly and nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's always nice to hear something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, at least he's a guy you actually can meet. That's a celebrity. They say don't meet your heroes, but apparently George is a guy that you can meet.
It's a great.
I was I talked about this on the podcast, my podcast this week, but I went to the Ren Fair this past weekend in Los Angeles, and my friend said, "Oh, that's I think there was a maze there," and they said, "Oh, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine went into that maze, we think." And then my niece was there, and she's a huge guitarist, and she's a big Tom Morello fan, so she got so excited. And sure enough, it was Tom Morello. She just attacked him, and he could not have been friendlier or nicer and posed for photos. He was amazing. So
nice.
It's really cool. What he was doing?
Yeah.
What was he doing in the maze? Was it? I guess traversing it, I suppose.
He was solving it with his children, or his son and his son's friend, and
cool.
So,
See now, that's awesome. It's and Tyson, I'm sorry. I know you're going to bleep me out on this one, but it's just nice to know that, when someone becomes famous, they don't become like an utter asshole, because some people can become assholes. They think like, why do I need to cater to you? You're just the fan, and, I'm who I am. So it's, you're going to like me regardless of how I am.
Well, the Ren Fair is a very special place where people act how they act, and it's pretty cool.
Nice.
I always enjoyed going to events up here associated with a group called the Society for Creative Anachronisms.
S.C.A.
S.C.A. And they had Ren Festival type events, and I don't know if they would ever refer to them as such, but they definitely seem to have the same vibe, I think.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's no flag too freaky to fly.
Like that. It reminds me of Parliament for some reason. The musical group, not over in Britain.
Understand.
Although that'd be something. So you were talking about your other podcast, because you have two now, or you had two for like almost a year now, I think.
Yeah. I've still got the other one going. I've just been really lazy about it. But yeah, I've got the Nooner podcast on the Smodcast, Smodco Internet Radio Network, and then I've got another food podcast. But I've just been a little slow on that.
And that one's called Ding Dong Chomp.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've fallen behind a little bit in my listenership, but I did really enjoy it. And they are fairly short, so you can digest many in a clip.
Yes.
No food puns intended.
I don't have enough. I mean, you have how many? You guys, you have 3 podcasts?
I have 2.
Just two.
Just one for me, 2 for him.
Okay, I see. Yeah. But does your wife have a podcast too, then,
Mine?
Laura?
She has a gaming program that she does on YouTube occasionally, and she's been making episodes for it, but it's hard for her to find the time to edit and whatnot. Yeah.
Understood.
What with the little one, the new little one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'd be happy to take over editing duties, but I'm also already editing 2 other shows and occasionally also game videos when I can, although those have fallen behind. And it's really not just editing podcasts, it's also listening to lots of podcasts and then re-listening to bits of them to extract 3 to 5 minutes from them. So I can listen to, 7 new podcasts a week easily and then still have to, work on putting other stuff together. When I say have to, I should say I get to, because it's a rare thing to talk on the internet. Oh wait, it's not.
Not to change the subject, but you did mention the video games thing that you do, and my other half still thanks you from the bottom of her heart for me watching you and playing Fortnite.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank her.
Unfortunately, even though she likes you, that's not like one of those like hearty, warm felt thank you. That's what did you get him into? Thank yous.
That's right, because you started playing Fortnite not long after that, I guess.
Yeah. And dude, every time I run out of memory space, I panic because I've created so much crap in the creative mode. That's why I haven't invited anybody to come to that island, because I don't want them to screw up my shit. One of these days, I'm going to take a video of it and show you what I created. And
okay, that'd be great. Love to see it.
Yeah. But she does.
Sorry.
She does. Thank you. She does. Thank you, though.
Oh, okay. Well, give her a reluctant "you're welcome," I guess, or if it's a thank you, it's hard. How else would I answer a thank you other than with a "you're welcome"? It's a conundrum.
Right.
Marty, have you ever played Fortnite or games of that nature?
I am terrified of playing Fortnite just because of the time suck that it involves. I used to, back in the day, I used to build a lot of computers just because it was cheap and you could just sort of noodle around, and I would put together like 4 pretty cheap PCs, and I would have my friends come over and we would play Unreal Tournament. And they had all these mods that you could do.
Oh, nice.
Or that other people did. Like there was a great Lego mod, and it was a very small maze and or a small arena, and that was super fun. And we would just drink and eat and eat pizza and just like play until 3 a.m. It was pretty fantastic. But these days, the older you get, the more responsibilities you get, the less. Or the more scary nights like that are,
That's called a LAN party? Is that what when you put a bunch of computers together?
This was a LAN party, and these were just like the jankiest computers and just cobbled together, leftover keyboards from here and there and just pieced them together. And it was a tiny 1-bedroom apartment that was just like crammed full of these computers and so much fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I bet you every single one of those computers that he just called janked they probably all worked better than this Toshiba that I started off with, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember your Toshiba. I've never seen it, but I do remember you had trouble with it for a while.
I wanted to take this thing, and I just wanted to like smash it against the wall. That was like a deep hate I had for that thing. That thing just did not work at all.
Hunter, are you gaming at all these days?
A little bit.
What do you play?
Evil Within right now.
Mm-hmm.
Silent Hill Downpour. Of course, Fortnite.
Right.
And I started replaying Fable 3 again.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The last game I played was Bard's Tale 2. Bard's Tale was an old RPG, and they had a Kickstarter to do a new Bard's Tale 4.
Oh.
With that was all redone. And part of the release was that they remastered Bard's Tale 2 for Windows 10. And that was plenty for me because I spent, probably 100 and something hours on that, just like wasting time, just collecting, doing nothing, but it was super fun. So
I do seem to recall. I remember the game existing, and then thinking, oh yeah, it'd be something I'd like to play someday. And then there's a mobile version of it now. That's on Android system at least, and I was thinking, gosh, I should pick it up and see if the game's fun at all. Like, I mean, I imagine it's similar.
The Android one is much different because it's a single player, I think, and you don't the turn-based system is a little different.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyhow, don't get me talking about games because then I want to play them. And yeah, that's bad news.
That's bad news. I can tell you this, that when I played Fable 3 for the first time, I promise you nobody saw me for days.
Yeah. Oh, this is why I loved Firewatch. Do you guys ever play Firewatch?
I've seen videos of it. I've wanted to play that one. But
I mean, that will take you a week or two if you're lazy, and it is beautiful. It is like interesting. The voice acting is fantastic. I was a huge fan of that. It was really cool.
I've seen videos of a guy named Markiplier playing it, and it's got what I saw of it is it's got a pretty moving story attached to it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I respond to. As much as I love exploding brains and pulling spines out of people's necks.
Fatality.
Yeah.
Finish him.
But a thoughtful story, like especially in that environment of a first-person, shooter, except you're not shooting. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the one that I've actually been filming videos, but I haven't had time to edit them. So like I've got at least 4 of Red Dead Redemption 2 that will be coming out in the future at some point.
Oh, and how far did you finish the game? Or
no, I've only scratched the surface of it. The first 3 episodes are me getting out of the snow basically, and then like at the beginning because there's a long prologue, and then the 4th one I think I finally got my first mission outside of that area of time. I could be wrong, but it's just like I found myself in the 4th video just kind of looking around and then just going, yeah, I'm just looking at stuff. I'm just, it's hard not to just look around in this game and just want to watch stuff interact.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Especially since having started watching Westworld finally. Now it's like I'm watching it going, this is like Red Dead Redemption. It's sort of like, and the more realistic, by the way, things in video games get, the less I want to create mayhem. So,
I'll tell you what.
To some degree, yes.
I had an employee tell me yesterday how awesome Red Dead 2 was, and now I have to have this game because he told me there's like so much hidden stuff.
That's what I've heard.
I just have to possess this now.
There's hidden stuff in the first game. In Red Dead Redemption, because the first game is a game called Red Dead Revolver. If we're talking about the series,
PS2.
If we're talking about the series, it's those 3 games. But Red Dead Redemption, there's there's little things hidden out here and there. It's always about like side missions and things too, because otherwise you're just riding a horse back and forth across the plains, which is great by the way. But avoiding getting taken down by coyotes or wolves or the can you help us out by the side of the road that ends up being an ambush or things like that. But there's a series of side quests that involve a character that might exist in the metaphysical plane. I don't know. It's kind of the jury's out on that one story-wise, but actually I don't think it is. But it's a unique experience. And
Oh, well, I was just going to say that there are certain games that have exploratory sort of features like Red Dead Redemption, these open world games where you can just go and go and go and find all these secrets and push all the boundaries. And then there are the linear games like Firewatch or the Alan Wake series.
Oh,
That are very straightforward, and it's hard to veer away. And so then you're sort of forced to buy into the story, as opposed to sort of wander around in Elder Scrolls or something like that. Do you guys have a preference of that sort of thing?
You mean to be?
I like open.
Let's go ahead. Sorry.
I like open world games, like Grand Theft Auto. Was a pretty good, awesome open end, especially what is it? San Andreas.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
I do like like the open world games. As far as a preference goes, I don't think I have a preference actually. I do really like open world games, like the Assassin's Creed series. When I got into that at the beginning of it, that was another one of those walking around the world experiences and figuring out how things work, and and seeing whether it lived up to the expectations of what the all the build up EPKs and whatnot, or the idea of the puppeteering system. And it's like, this stick moves this arm and this stick moves this arm. It's not quite like that, but it's still pretty cool. I mean, it's got a lot of great stuff. And then I think they improved on that in the second game, Assassin's Creed.
Right. But then there's No Man's Sky, where you can just go for years and years and years, and
not be told where to go or what to do. And it's
right.
Well, so playing Spider-Man 2, one of the first games to get the swinging mechanic right. Once you get done with that game, you can just continue swinging around New York, but there's not really a lot of reason to, except for stopping people from joyriding by getting on there and banging on the hood, or finding stopping. What are they called? The criminals, the ones with the bank robbers, or the balloon missions where you're going to find the red balloon for the kid, because it's these are all things. Yeah, you basically get something on your radar, and you hear this sort of "It's my balloon." It's this kid's voice, and it's you can't ignore a kid in distress. So it's and so you gotta find a balloon and bring it back down to them, and you're like, "Here you go," and then it's okay, where are those? Yeah, and Bruce Campbell's not around being snarky anymore, which which was great in that game. I don't know. Did you ever play Spider-Man 2?
I did not. I was I saw the latest Spider-Man from last year on PS4, and I was like, should I buy a PS4? And then I was like, no, you fucking idiot! You should not buy a PS4. You have better things to do with your time.
Yeah, I mean, if you can. I mean, I was considering getting a PS4. Just for Spider-Man, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That might be the killer app, and for me,
it's amazing. It's beautiful. Yeah,
I love Spider-Man 2 a lot. I mean,
but no Bruce Campbell.
That's unfortunate. He really brought something to. There's Sam Raimi movies, so I mean, he brings something to anything, and even though he's in, or pretty much anything he's in, he brings something to it.
I'm better now, by the way.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Oh, were you having difficulty before there?
Oh, I was laughing my ass off, dude. Well, you were sitting there explaining something. I was just sitting there laughing my ass off, but I wasn't laughing at entirely everything that you were saying. But when you said, swing around New York, is basically when I lost my shit. And sorry again for the bleep, but because literally in the 80s, that's what you did. You basically swing around New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
and it's just Did you ever play Spider-Man 2 Hunter for either of these systems? Yes.
No.
So there's a swing mechanic where it's if you're playing as Spider-Man, it's you attach to part of the building. Yeah. And there's this visual, physical visual feedback of a sense of increasing and decreasing momentum that really gives you a sense of not flying through the city, which was an improvement on Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man game, where you pretty much were just sticking webs anywhere in the sky and kind of floating along. And it kind of broke the reality. So you actually had to have places to stick the web to. If there's no buildings, and it's you got to kind of get the trees in the park and kind of stay at more or less ground level. It's just, You're not just going, oh, webs in the sky, and here I go, and I'm going across the park with it's like, what are you attaching it to? God? It's like there's nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, see, I knew you were. I knew what you were saying, but my mind was in the gutter temporarily, so I just took it to a dark place.
Oh, the swinging bit.
And
okay.
right, because I also recently saw Party Monster with Macaulay Culkin, and that was based on a true story where there really was a dude like that in New York City who got paid to be a club organizer and all that.
Michael Alec, yeah.
Yeah.
He's on Twitter. He's out of jail and on Twitter.
Yep, out of jail and on Twitter and broke.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Spider-Man couldn't live in Arcata, though, right?
Yeah.
What? No.
Well, he could swing through maybe the redwoods and some of them.
Yeah.
But then
I think we talk about this last time. Was speaking of Spider-Man, like if you had to be, like if you were a superhero and had to be what you were afraid of, like obviously Batman's afraid of bats.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't we have this conversation? And I said, well, what if the only thing you were afraid of were cockroaches?
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to be like Roach Man. You know what I mean? And wouldn't that be like the suckiest thing on the planet? Wouldn't it be like God's cruel joke to you?
So you're your fear. So yeah. What Marty?
Well, you could survive You could survive anything, though, right? The roaches can survive a nuclear war, right?
That was Roach
No,
Man?
that's true.
Yeah.
So what am I afraid of?
How scary is that?
I guess it's worse if you look in the mirror because you're always reminded that you're something that you are afraid of or that you're based on it. Can you imagine being scared by your own costume?
I think Kafka explored that back in the last century.
Oh yeah, with Metamorphosis. That's good reference. So yes. Sorry, I'm going into Jeff Goldblum mode.
But I do like Spider-Man though, and Spider-Man is the shit. and the fact that they made him part of the Avengers finally, they gave credit where credit's due.
Well, that was more of a contractual thing than it was any sort of a narrative thing.
And yet we reap the benefits.
Yeah. And so does Sony, right? Because they don't have to make the Avengers movies, but they still get a chunk of the profits. So
meanwhile, having finally made a film version, which I haven't seen yet, of the multiverse of the Spider-Man, of the Spider-Many.
You have not seen that yet?
I have not seen it. But it's one that's on my list to see. I don't get really out to the theater to see many films.
Fair enough.
See a lot of things at home.
Yeah, but it's now available at home. This is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And it is kind of jaw-dropping. Hunter, did you see it?
No, I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, it is probably my favorite. One of my favorite animated superhero films of all time. It's funny, it's inventive, it's so just dazzling. I highly recommend it. I'm not getting any money from Marvel or Sony.
I'll tell you one thing: Marvel is about to slam DC very hard.
How so?
With the two movies they got coming out.
Okay, I know about the Avengers one. What's the other one?
The other one is X-Men: Dark Phoenix.
Oh, I've heard. Okay, I don't want to spread. Well, by the time this comes out, it'll be a couple months from now, so we won't be spoiling the publicity for it. But like I had heard up until 3 weeks ago that they were having trouble with the screenings. People were just basically laughing at wrong moments, and it wasn't going well. And but maybe it's fake news. I don't know. Okay.
I saw the trailer when I went to the movies on Sunday,
and
it looked pretty fucking sick.
So
this is the Avengers Endgame.
Sure. I think the Avengers Endgame is probably going to deliver exactly what everybody hopes or is expecting. Dark Phoenix is a little different. That's from X-Men 94, is that right? It's that whole series there?
With Jean Grey, I believe so, yeah.
And they have a new Jean Grey from the last movie. From what's her name from Game of Thrones?
Sansa Stark.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Sophie Tucker. No, Sophie. Something.
Okay.
Sophie.
Okay.
It's not Sophie Tucker. That's the singer. It's sorry. But anyway, you're saying
Sophie B. Tucker? No, Sophie B.
Sophie B. Good.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenal actress. or actor.
I think that the tone of all those X-Men movies is so different from the Disney MCU ones, right? They're much more dark and not dark, but less fun.
Yeah, I'd say that the right amount of brooding.
Yeah,
maybe, I guess. I mean, they're serious. I mean, they have fun, but they are very serious. Like, they take the subject matter very seriously.
Yeah, they do.
Which is funny because, like, James Marsden, who played like Cyclops, is so freaking funny, if you've seen him in other movies. And what Wolverine dude, whatever that.
Oh, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, yeah. He can be pretty funny.
Sure, he has great singing voice. I loved his watching him do the Oscars. In that one that I guess Dan Harmon wrote or co-wrote or partially wrote. Of course, he co-wrote. He didn't write the whole thing. Like Bruce Blanche was still doing that stuff. Speaking of which, sorry, this is an odd segue. Did I interrupt anybody's stream or did I find an okay resolution?
How dare you?
Darn it!
Yeah, how damn you!
It's just so likely to happen that I'm trying to be more aware of this kind of thing.
Speaking of which,
sure, what's up?
Speaking of which, so we as you know do love to bring people back onto the show, right? So we had another guy, Corey. Yeah, thank you. So we had another guy, Corey, who was on for the second time, right? So, we start up the computer, about to start up the show, and I'm hearing this very loud noise, and I can't hear him. And what was the problem, Tyson? Because you had the microphone covered?
Something like
that. You were trying to think that I was crazy. Here I am restarting my shit.
There is a pinhole at the top of next to my camera up here, and I usually keep a piece of black tape over the camera.
See, he's in terror right now.
I don't trust the government, but if I did that and then da 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 da, now I don't.
Yeah, see, that's the noise.
So that's what it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny because your microphone isn't even working. You're just working off your computer's microphone.
That's very true. This is the only reason why the finished product of this, why people will be able to hear me at all. Because if I just went off of the footage that I'm recording this screen with, it's your guys' tracks, everything off Skype, and nothing from me. So it's like blank space.
Oh.
But and
I thought that was just a prop.
The blank space. Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine, like, some like woman walking down the street one night by herself or whatever, and some fucking pervert just walks up to her and just does exactly what you just did, like that. I mean,
walks out and goes, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
that's where he starts with his perversion, is the strange hands.
If that's your perversion, then the world would be a better place,
Something. Well, no, that's the start of it, but usually something like that you can expect to see in a New York City subway at night, because you can see all kinds of strange shit there, man.
Strange people on the subway.
I mean, Marty, have you ever been to New York?
I have.
So you know what I'm talking about. Like, that's why you never go on the subways at night, because all the freaks are guaranteed to be down in there.
The freaks come out at night.
Freaks come out at night.
The freaks come out at night.
Freaks come out at night. There's Taxi Driver the musical. There was never mind. It was a thing on Saturday Night Live back in the early 80s with John Turturro playing Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese in the Cutaways, where they were adapting a bunch of things for Broadway. So they had a Taxi Driver the musical. Jeanine Garofalo played Iris, the prostitute, and then De Niro and Iris have a little song, and it's like this love song to her, basically. It's not
out of the realm of possibility when you see what's on Broadway these days. Like anything can be a Broadway musical.
I was about to say that it seems like they turn like everything into a musical, and I mean, like, I'm waiting for them to have like a Trump musical one of these days.
Well, they have there's the Clinton one right now. And,
is there?
Yeah, with Laurie Metcalf and John Lithgow, and then Human Centipede is I think going to come up next month.
Really?
No.
Oh God, no.
No.
Oh God, thank you.
Thank you.
Because when I saw those movies, I was like mortified.
So musical for Human Centipede, because it's going to be difficult phrasing a lot of those.
Well, the chorus is just like
It's like 3-part harmony, but 2 muffled voices.
Yeah, but in perfect pitch, though.
Oh God!
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That would be something.
I needed I needed to like have therapy when I saw those movies. That's how bad that mortified me. Ugh.
Bone Tomahawk the musical.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean it's not, but I mean, well, what was there was a. Did anybody ever end up seeing Spider-Man? Turn off the dark. I don't know why it keeps coming back to Spider-Man. I'm not that huge a fan. It's been on the topic today, so whatever. I mean,
my sister saw it, and apparently it was just a fiasco of just like people being pulled off of yeah, right, and landing and just like tumbling and trying to catch their footing. I mean, it was so precarious. Yeah, and then there's the famous Carrie the musical.
Oh God.
That was.
I don't think everything needs to be turned into like a musical. I mean,
well, it's about money, right? So yeah. So now that it was a big hit, you can be sure that Pennywise is going to be, treading the boards on Broadway.
See, I think they should do a musical on Hellraiser.
It's the musical.
Okay, well then you're part of the problem, Hunter. Part of the fucking problem.
Angels to some, demons to others. That's from Hellraiser the musical. It was from the Cenobites. It's a big number where all the Cenobites do the legs up and down like the Rockettes, and bits of flesh and fish hooks come out, and
yeah.
Oh yeah, Chatterer. Yeah, that was good one. That third one was pretty ponderous though. That was I liked it when they were kind of. It's now one of Pinhead's powers to kind of like make other Cenobites, and it's kind of like that thing Hunter was talking about, where it's like what if you became a hero based on a thing you fear? It's like these people become Cenobites based on something that's associated with them. Like the cameraman has a camera in his head, so he's like camera guy Cenobite.
This camera guy.
Some guy had a CD player, so I guess he's got got CDs that he throws or something, or they come out of his head, or I don't remember. It's been a while, but it's like
came out of his mouth.
And then now you're a Cenobite. They came out of his mouth. Yeah.
Well, then there's the fourth one, Hellraiser for Bloodline.
Was that 4? Oh, it is. Yeah, with Adam Scott.
Adam Scott from Party Down and Parks and Rec. Yeah.
That's right.
Now here's a situation.
At one point. Sorry. Yes, Hunter.
Here's a situation. Okay, now
parents went away on a week's vacation, and
when it comes to the Hellraiser franchise, they should have just left it at number 4 and never continued after that.
Wasn't Josh Brolin in the 5th one?
I don't remember, but I think I've always had this thing of like where I want to recognize stars by their worst roles, and so if you see like Matthew McConaughey, you'd be like, oh my god, you're the guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Oh, I love you, or going to Demi Moore and being like, oh my god, you were so good in Parasite. And I don't know if you ever saw Parasite or and then you could do the same thing with Adam Scott.
Hellraiser.
And by the way, Adam Scott, a lovely gentleman. He's been on our podcast, and he could not be any kinder. He's a very, very nice man.
Also fantastic to hear.
Yes.
Recently, this is one of the reasons why I was bringing up Bruce Vilanch earlier. Bruce Vilanch, the writer, made me think of...
Don't know who he is.
Seriously? Oh, no. Or is that... Are you trolling me? I was like... Okay. Well, he's a joke writer. He writes for the Oscars a lot, and he also co-wrote the Star Wars Holiday Special.
What's that?
Okay, so Marty was involved in a play version of the Star Wars Holiday Special back in December, Hunter. So they actually adapted it for stage, or they adapted a behind-the-scenes version of it. Did you ever see the Star Wars Holiday Special, Hunter?
I did not.
Are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you've not seen it.
I've not seen it.
It is worth seeing at least once. I've seen it recently, and it is ponderous.
I don't know if it's worth seeing once. It's worth seeing the first, sort of skipping around once. You know, you can sort of fast forward through it.
I mean, you know, I got time during the day now because I watch my son, so it's like sometimes he just sort of sleeps, and it's like, oh, let's see what I got here. I'll just, oh yeah, I haven't seen this in a while. Let's dial up the old Star Wars Holiday Special, and
yeah,
it's weirder the fourth time.
So to give you a little background, it came out between Star Wars and Empire, and basically George Lucas, and I was actually wrong about this. I thought that George Lucas was a puppet to Fox. But really, George Lucas wanted to make sure that Star Wars stayed in everybody's consciousness before Empire came out, because he was trying to sell toys.
Right.
And so he made this thing with CBS to do this holiday special, and it was about the Wookiees because he could only get the people with faces for a couple days. And they shot this 2-hour special over 8 days, and and Harrison Ford was, I think, 2 days, and I mean, anyhow, it's crazy because you had Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and then you had B. Arthur,
oh yes,
and Harvey Korman, and Jefferson Starship, playing music.
Starship.
Yeah, and it was Art Carney from The Honeymooners played a character, and you're just like these are all incredibly talented people, but it's like having the most delicious orange juice mixed in with caviar. It's like, why would you do that? Like they're both delicious separately, but why would you put them together? I'm not saying one is caviar, one is orange juice, but it's just like it's like two things that don't go together and will never go together. Right. And yeah, it was amazing. It's spectacular. So we did this play in Hollywood in this tiny theater that held maybe as many people on stage as in the theater, or as many people in the theater as in the stage. And I played everybody played multiple roles, so I had 11 different roles, and we were just jumping around and putting on costumes and stuff like that. And Bruce Vilanch actually came to the show.
Nice.
See, he's trolling me.
Yes, and the guy so there's one of the actors in the play actually played Bruce Vilanch, and in one of the super fast scene changes, we're backstage, and he's like, Bruce Vilanch is in the audience, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, why are you not freaking out? He's like, and he just went back out and did his thing, and then at the end, again, it's okay to meet certain heroes. Bruce Vilanch, I don't think he loved the play, but he posed for every picture. He didn't love the play because, okay, so the guy who wrote the play, a very talented guy, Andrew Osborne, and he sent a copy of it to Bruce Vilanch to get sort of a blessing. And then Bruce Vilanch wrote this really long sort of set of notes saying, this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen, and this went this way, this went this way. And so what Andrew did is put those actual notes into the play. And so at that point, Bruce Vilanch, the character, would stop the play and say, this didn't happen, and then correct it.
Got it, meta.
So funny. It was very, very meta, very funny, and
that's amazing.
And then Bruce Vilanch, his first reaction was, well, I didn't know he was going to use that in the play, and then but he was just like his TV persona, except warmer, and it was just really, really cool. So I mean, it's one of the highlights of being in LA.
Very cool.
Doing crappy free theater.
I saw
I'm going to have to return. I'm going to have to return to LA.
Oh, did you lived in LA?
No. I was there once on a vacation for about 7 days, but now I'm going to have to return.
Yeah, I'm going to have to return to LA at some point as well. And
well, if you guys do, please come and visit. If we have the podcast, come and visit. We'd love to have you on. And also,
thank you.
And for everybody else who's listening, it is just one of those places where you can, I can go. I've been to the farmers market, just regular Sunday, just shopping, and I've run into Adam Scott multiple times, and he'll be like, Marty. I'm like, how the hell do you know who I am? But he remembers me, and he's super nice. And then, or else you just see other people and they're maybe not so nice, but you get to see them, and that's kind of cool too. You know.
I saw
absolutely.
I saw a picture of when I was looking up information about the play because I really wanted to know more about when it was, because I remember hearing about it, talking about it. It's just it's hard to believe now that that 5 months have passed, because I remember it seems like just the other day, but also we were only pregnant 5 months ago. Now we're parents.
That's true.
So it's gone really fast these weeks, and it's like every Sunday is like, well, you're this many weeks old now. So it's like
right,
pretty much every Sunday, because he was born on a Sunday. Surprise, surprise. And so I saw a picture of you. It's credited as you dressed as a Wookiee.
Yes,
holding a battery powered tea light, or votive, I guess they're called, or maybe it looked battery powered. It might have been a real votive. But you're also dressed in your Wookiee costume. Appears to be made of paper bags, so it's probably a battery powered, because you look really flammable.
I was very flammable, and one of the conceits of the play is that we tried to create everything. Well, they wanted it to look cheap. The producers of the play,
mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I don't want it to look cheap. I want it to look homemade.
Right.
In this, like, hardware wars, you know.
Oh yeah.
So I created all the Wookiee costumes. I created them at home, and you know, I went to the store and actually bought shopping bags and glued them together, and I created a Millennium Falcon and out of cardboard, and it was like and bubble wrap, and just like try to create everything to be really like, so it didn't look lazy, it just looked cheap, you know. And I think that's one of the things about comedy is, like, if you're just cheap and lazy and you're like, oh, I didn't want to bother. Like there was a show that ran for many years in LA called the 99-cent Show. It was a Christmas show, and where every single prop and costume was purchased at the 99-cent store.
Oh, nice.
And there were these beautiful, like, elaborate dresses, like, all made of, like, you know, plastic wrap and, like, you know, various, like, egg cartons and whatever you can get at the 99-cent store. And it was so creative and interesting, as opposed to, oh, we'll just come out in a paper bag with a drawing on it, and that'll be the Wookiee. I'm like,
Sure.
no, you can't. That is a cop out. That is cheap. Let's do something interesting and fun. And that, like, for anybody who's trying to create something out there, that is your advantage. You might not have access to prosthetics and, you know, latex and all that stuff, but you can do something that will be really elaborate, but also cheap. Like Bill Watterson, the one of the hosts, he hasn't been around for a while on my podcast. He directed a movie, and that's kind of where I got the inspiration from to do this, to do what we did in the play. And he came in and saw the play, and I told him. But he did a movie called Dave Made a Maze, and he actually created a whole maze with puppets and animation and just amazing, intricate things, all out of cardboard. And so
now that sounds dope.
It's amazing. You all should watch the movie. It is just stunning, because you're like none of that cost anything, but it took a lot of manpower and a lot of devotion, and that's something that anybody can do if you can con your friends into helping you out. But like, you know, we had listeners from the show went on to go to set and help him cut cardboard and put things together. Yeah, like
that's
Peter,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
And it was so cool, and everybody was happy too. Nobody made any money off of it, least of all him. But it's a beautiful movie, and everybody should see it if they can. So it's
very unique. It's probably one of my favorite films from 2017.
Bill would love that you said that, so I'll pass that on.
I do recall now that you mentioned that I having never seen the film before, and also not really knowing mostly what it was about, I wrote a song about Dave Made a Maze, pretty much from the perspective of somebody who didn't actually know what the film was about, but kind of sort of knew what the film was about. like that's kind of the idea of the song, is that it's like, because sometimes you'll end up with a song and a soundtrack to a film where it's like, well, the people who wrote this song clearly don't know what movie this is, or never saw the movie, or don't know what the plot is. But there's some semblance of what it's a promotional thing. So I thought it'd be funny to write this Dave Made a Maze song, and I have no idea what Bill Watterson actually thinks of it. But and also,
I'm sure he would love it. I
think he's heard it.
actually. Did we play it? I don't think.
Oh, yeah, you played it at least once. Not necessarily, of course, but that's fine. Yeah, because I actually should probably go back and remaster it a bit. It's or do some new stuff on it.
But that's kind of fun. Is creating without really knowing. Mm-hmm. I remember I went out to karaoke with a friend of mine who's a incredible singer and very naturally musical, and we at karaoke we pimped him to do "Stand by Your Man," the Tammy Wynette song.
Oh yeah.
He did not know the tune at all, but just from reading the lyrics and listening to the music, he created an entire new tune from it.
How fantastic! And
we were all just like blown away, and it was like really cool because he's talented. You're very talented, so it's one of those things of like, oh yeah, I guess you can make pull blood from a stone, or I guess something like that.
Yeah, I always say Tyson's the magic behind the show because he is actually the magic behind the show when it comes to like editing and stuff like that.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yes,
he's somebody who can do a jack of all trades and a master of a lot. Maybe not everything, but a master of a lot.
Thank you.
I just show up and talk.
Yeah,
it's all him.
That's what I'm doing right now.
I appreciate it for both of you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You go ahead. Somebody was.
No. It's on you.
Okay. Thank you. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's just I don't know. What have we been doing this show for almost 3 years now? No, it'll be 3 years like in October. So it's not quite almost, but it's pretty close.
Now.
Yeah.
In almost 3 years of doing this show, I'm certainly glad that people are enjoying it. We don't get a whole lot of feedback, but what little feedback we do get, I'm glad people are liking it because when we first started doing this, I was seriously convinced that our only listeners would be two crackheads and a crack den. That's right, and the only reason why they're listening is because they're smoking their crack.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I think about we have all done creative things, and I don't know. We have a very small listenership on my podcast, but at the same time, it's really exciting that anybody listens. But I feel just the act of doing it, the act of creation, is really enriching for me. And so if you get hung up on the numbers and hung up on like how relevant you are to the rest of the world, then it's just not. It loses its purpose, kind of, Unless, as long as you're not starving and you're hoping to turn this into a job, There was a This American Life, I think it was, about a guy who just turned his house into a studio and was trying to create a talk show. This is in the early 90s or mid 90s, and before YouTube had come into play, and he basically lost his family just to try to do a talk show on public access. But I mean, you have to have some perspective about it. But the idea, right. A podcast like what we're doing right now is so simple to do, but so satisfying and so much fun. And any feedback we get is really great. So
absolutely,
it's super cool.
Absolutely,
amen.
But for the upcoming podcaster, of course, you have to open yourself to criticism. Of course, when you're advertising on the multi different social medias, of course, and of course, if you're doing it on iTunes, you absolutely must open yourself up to not only positive stuff, but negative stuff as well. So my advice to you is ignore the negative stuff. Now, you hear me all the time making fun of myself. Why? Because I don't care. So I'm not going to care if some troll comes on and tries to mock me or talk shit to me, because I'm talking about myself. So they can have fun all they want. Or they can create something better.
Yeah, I will say that if somebody cares enough to go out of their way to criticize you, I mean, not, and you're doing something honest and whatever. You're not trying to troll the world. Then that's probably a good thing, because like we don't on my like Rinky Dink podcast, we don't get any negative feedback at all, because the people who don't listen are like, all right, I'm just going to go back and listen to Kevin Smith, So, which is fine. And I'm so happy about that. But I feel like, the people who like get trolled all the time are the people who are in the forefront of, they're getting a lot of attention. Like, right now it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like the congresswoman, she's getting these death threats because people listen to her. And it's not because she actually says anything like that horrible, but it's just because she's popular. And so if you reach that point, then just know that you've reached a certain level and ignore it,
Haters gotta hate.
Haters gotta hate.
Haters gotta hate. East Side.
But they don't take time out of their busy day to hate me. So that's okay. I'm okay with that right now, because I'm a very fragile flower.
All right, what's the line?
I'm sorry, I had sneeze.
Bless you.
A delicate flower to be pressed between walls of stone.
How dare you?
So let me
Try it again. A delicate flower to be pressed between walls of stone.
Of pillows.
Do you know what that is? It's a bad impression, but do you know who that is supposed to be in what movie?
No.
Hunter? Anything? That is Vincent Price from To the Ten Commandments.
Okay. Now give me your wordless Vincent Price.
Hmm.
All right. I think you could go a little higher on the tone there. Oh, there you go. All right, that's good.
See, he's more of a Christopher Lee type character. Like,
Oh yeah.
like his voice is more like Christopher Lee-ish.
It's down here. Yes. Well,
I mean, two of my favorite actors. Like, Vincent Price used to freak me out so much.
Really?
Oh yeah, because back in the 60s and 70s, he did these movies like the Abominable Dr. Fives.
Oh yeah,
and,
I have those.
And, and then he did like the one about the critics, where he was killing all his critics. Oh shoot, I gotta look that up. Sorry. But it's a wonderful movie. Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me know when you find it, because I'd like to see that. By the way. By the way.
Can you imagine somebody? Can you imagine? Because again, you throw our episodes are up on multiple platforms for people to listen to. But can you imagine if someone heard this shit and actually wrote a play about a podcaster who actually goes around killing all his critics because all they ever do is mock his shit and he just can't stand it no more? So he goes around killing the critics.
Okay.
You want to talk, motherfucker?
Hunter, we need to edit this part out, because we're going to make that movie. Okay, we don't want people stealing that. It was called Theater of Blood.
Theater of Blood.
Yeah, and he murders these people in the most ridiculous ways. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you guys should all watch it. It's of a time, and Vincent Price clearly loved what he was doing. And he was an American, and he went to Yale, and he just could not be a more just like a game player of he recognized what he could do and really had fun doing what he did, and to the point where he became a Simpsons meme.
Oh, wait, did he?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure.
Yes. Well, of course it is. Thank you, my dear.
Oh, okay. Okay. You said,
It's delightful.
for the listeners, Tyson said that he did a wordless Vincent Price, but you just did a very wordful Vincent Price that was far better than your wordless Vincent Price.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Amazing. That was really good. Do that again?
Well, there's a tone to it. It's
Soft and round. It's in here. It's sort of like my wife. She's so amusing.
That's from House on Haunted Hill or House
Haunted Hill.
Haunting of Hill House. What was that one? The castle movie.
House of Wax or House of Usher.
Well, he did that one too, and he did both of those. He did a couple of
Yes.
house ones. There's one where I love that Dane Harmon points this out, but the Last Man on Earth, the original film version of I Am Legend, it's sort of it's all in his. There's not all, but there's a lot of voiceover because he's walking around and tidying things up and. Like if anybody ever seen the version of this, he's the last man on earth. So there's things that come out at night, and during the day he's got all these things he has to take care of, like a digging stuff or burning stuff, or he's like, I need more garlic. The vampires will be back again. And it's like because he's hanging garlic over us to keep the vampires away. It's a or what was the there's a bit from. Also from the Haunting of Hill House, or Haunted. I can't remember. It's House on Haunted Hill. House on Haunted Hill.
Usher.
Yes. It's House on Haunted Hill. And so it's like it says to his wife, who they apparently have a contentious relationship, and he's like, "Do you remember the time when you tried to poison me?" And
do you remember the time? Yeah. It's like in his throat, kind of. It's like Oh, that's so cool.
Something you drank? The doctor said, "Yes, arsenic on the rocks." And
that is amazing. So cool.
Thank you. I've been working on that. It wasn't easy, but especially after doing Christopher Lee all the time because everything's down here, so it's like very sonorous and it's very deep and it's hard. It's actually really hard to record that because it's you have to sweeten it a lot to get any volume on that.
Otherwise, I think after the character I did, my throat killed me for like days.
Oh yeah, Fritz. Yeah, he did. I had him do a version of Dwight Fry, Fry's character from the original Frankenstein movie. So it's just this little kind of like I wanted an Igor character, but I wanted his name to be Fritz because there wasn't an Igor in the original Frankenstein film. So
And for all you Fritz, for all you nerds, Vincent Price played Egghead on the original Batman TV series.
Yes, he did.
That's right. Egghead, you'd say things like excellent and whatnot. Excellent and
why
is ecstatic and stuff. But I never actually saw the episodes. I did see clips from them. I need to,
really?
I need to revisit that television show.
I used to come home and watch them while I was sitting eating grilled cheese sandwiches that I made. I love that. I love that so much.
I'm glad it's out on home video because I can finally I'll finally be able to sit and kind of watch it, watch them from end to end and see how fun they are.
I mean, if you think about it, like the people that were on that show, you had like Milton Berle, Roddy McDowell, Cliff Robertson, just like amazing people on that show. You had the John Astin, who is the father of
Sean Astin and Mackenzie Astin.
Yeah, but who did he play?
Gomez Adams.
No.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
Lord of the Rings.
Samwise Gamgee.
Sam. He played Sam.
Yes, Sean Astin. Oh, Sean Astin was on the original Batman? No, of course he wasn't. John was.
His dad was, yeah.
He was also on Night Court for a little bit. He had a little stint on there as Harry's real father or something.
Wow.
He had this line. He was like, "I'm feeling much better now." That was his line that he'd say, which is really similar to Tommy Chong's actual voice. Huh?
Adam West was the only Batman who never had to say he was Batman.
Oh, you mean the guy from Family Guy?
Yeah. Adam West,
Mayor of Quahog. Adam West.
No. I only know him from that show.
from Batman.
No, from Family Guy.
Oh, okay.
Just from Family Guy.
He's I don't want to speak for him, but I'm pretty sure he's pulling your leg.
I hope so.
Do you realize I was just referring to a ton of actors from the... Okay.
Yeah.
So, speaking of critics, I'd like to point this out real quick. This is something that... there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Hunter, I'd like to read a couple of really short reviews for a film. And I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm going to say blank where the review... These are just like small, like couple sentence reviews. And they're all bad reviews, okay? So this movie is 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 4 out of 10 on IMDb. However, and it's 59% of Google users like this movie, which, by the way, is often the case on movies that do poorly. A lot more Google users usually like these movies for some reason. I found it. Anyway, so here's the review. And after the third one, I'm going to ask if you can guess what it is real quick. So
The grand canvas of blank does hold sway in terms of the visual experience, but at the end, this one is all show and no substance. Not a great review. Not a great review. Okay, and then the next one says, stunts and performances make the not-so-engaging blank watchable. Burr. And then the Amir Khan star blank has some engrossing moments in the first half. That's about it. This one is a golden opportunity lost. And then in all caps, king-size disappointment. Do you know what that film is, Hunter?
No.
Little movie came out last year called Thugs of Hindustan.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. A lot of critics hated this movie. And
that was an awesome movie.
Yeah, see, now I got Hunter to watch Thugs of Hindustan a few weeks ago, or something like that.
Oh, my God. That was phenomenal.
I'm trying to get people to see it bit by bit because I think it could create kind of like I don't want to say like a movement, but I mean, like, the film is so much better than it was reviewed. It was reviewed very poorly.
By the IMDb reviewers, it gets a 4.0, and it is 2 hours and 44 minutes.
2 hours, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is this the film that you were trying to get us to watch?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been trying to get this movie.
Why not get us to watch one that is well reviewed and that has not just by critics but by the audience of IMDb?
Well, it's because it's easy to pick something that does well. This is a great movie that did poorly.
But that no one likes.
But it's not true. Lots of people do like this movie, just not the people who write about it.
Two people like it. Two people like it.
That's true. But aren't there like 4 times the amount of people in India as there are in the United States?
I think
easily. I think that is one of the most exciting things about this new world. Like, it's like I remember the first time I saw on YouTube there were these like just like frat bros doing. And you can look it up. I mean, it was like probably 8 years ago, 7 years ago. They were like just on spring break doing a Bollywood number. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that is amazing. And then now you have people doing on YouTube doing K-pop and doing and just doing every sort of type of thing, like, and all of a sudden, like, we're like, it's not just a American-centric media world anymore, and that's a good thing. Yeah, it's a really fun thing.
I didn't know what I was missing. I didn't, I only just discovered that I like Bollywood a couple months ago. It was from seeing this movie for the first time. I saw the previews, and I'm like, well, I got some time. I'll sit and watch this, and I was just like, this is great. And then I look up the reviews and I'm like, why do people hate this movie? What's going on here? Then I'm like, honey, to my wife, would you do me a favor and watch this movie with me? Because like, we don't have to watch all of it, but if you can stick with it, you can say, I don't want to watch it more if you want, but if you do like it, let me know. And if you don't, that's cool. And she didn't want to stop watching. And at the end, she was like, that was really good. And like, that's what I thought. So what the heck what's going on?
Well, I already knew she was going to say it was good because you're not divorced or anything like that. So you're not in the doghouse.
Yeah, that would do it.
Now that is something that I don't have to worry about quite yet. So ha 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 ha.
But soon.
If it were in English, do you think it would have been as good?
Been as good? Oh,
not at all. I don't. I think
why?
Why? Because it would just seem fake to me. It's like just watching another like an American film. Because as you know, Hollywood, old school Hollywood, has just had like this whatever to just want to put white actors in non-white character.
I don't mean that. I just mean that if there was a 2 hour and 44 minute movie of ridiculous action that was punctuated by long musical numbers of these very coordinated dances that took place just apropos of nothing, like that would have been very distracting, right? I don't know.
I don't know. If it was in English, well, there's like 4 different language versions of it, but like that's why I keep saying see it in Hindi because that's the original language, and so it's not distracting.
And I I think it makes it better. In fact, that it's in its own it's in its own language.
And there is some English because they're doing something I guess they refer to as Hinglish, like
English, sure.
Yeah, like
Sure.
English.
Well, yeah,
so it's a little
because-
bit of Hindi and a little bit of English. It's also I'm sorry, it's a little bit of Hindi and Urdu plus English. So it's like,
The British were speaking English, obviously, and then
but not
of course,
always. Sometimes the British were
Not-
speaking Hindi, and so it's,
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's just I think it's really interesting, and I think we are. Well, I am more forgiving, just because I want to be more generous to new cultures that I don't understand. So I've been watching this a couple like Korean and I'm not Korean, I'm not Japanese, but I've been watching a Korean show and a Japanese show, and I'm trying to understand the world, and like I'm so much more open to it. But it's kind of cool because, okay, so just so you know, like this is a Hindi movie, right?
Right.
And then within India, there's an entire other film world of Tamil movies.
yes, Tamil, yes.
So Tamil is a different language that they speak in a huge part of India, and it's a huge film world. And I've done a little bit of acting, and I did like I guess a year or two ago I did a photo shoot with this, and it was I guess it was like trying to get cultural diversity. So they hired me, an Asian guy, and then this other dude who was a South Asian guy, and we're just like sitting around just chatting, and it was just like a photo shoot. So. It's a great job. You know, it's a few $100 for just sitting around, just like sitting in a chair and people take pictures of you.
Yeah.
And then, but like, there's all this downtime. So he's just telling me how he's like, oh yeah, like I'm a Tamil. I mean, he wasn't bragging. He's just like, I'm a Tamil movie star. Like when I go into India, like people stop me on the street, but like, it's not a huge paying job, and I live here, and like my wife is a doctor, and like I'm just trying to make money.
Wow.
But it was like so cool, just like, and that to me is like so awesome. Like the idea of like in another country you're a huge movie star, and you're just like here you're just like some schlump, like just like making money. I mean, he was a very, very handsome fellow, very talented, so he's gonna be fine, but. It's just like kind of a fun way to be a celebrity,
Absolutely. I mean, Thugs has got 3 big stars from India in it. They're like hugely big over there. There's Amir Khan is a big star over there. Amitabh Bachchan is a big star. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. In fact, he's like the Stallone, basically. He's been working since the 70s at least. And his son is also an actor. He was in the Doom series, which was created by the people who did Thugs of Hindustan. And it's like more like contemporary cops and robbers stuff.
Right.
And also very entertaining. And it's I by the way, the second time I saw a Bollywood film, it was Doom 1. After watching this big lavish epic with like period piece and 3 songs, and then I watched this Cops and Robbers movie, and I started and I'm like, this is fun, and then I'm like, oh, there's gonna be songs in this one too.
Yeah, see,
the Doom movies are huge.
Just so you know, I had
And
to
they're fun.
watch.
They're really fun. Sorry, yeah.
I had to watch Thugs of Hindustan by myself. I could not convince my fiance to watch it with me.
It's fine. It's almost 3 hours long. But so are those Batman movies. I mean, it's like
Right. And so are those Avengers movies,
yeah.
Oh, that I can get her to go see.
I know,
Just-
but it's still a 3-hour freaking movie,
And,
of
there's
course.
this great thing called on demand where you can like pause a movie and walk away and come back and continue it whenever you want to. So it's like it's
Okay, that is the excuse that you gave to me when you said you should watch this movie.
Yeah, that's right. I guess I did.
And
yeah.
I was like,
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. You just went down a few steps in my estimation, But that's okay.
Backing off, backing off, and being like, it's okay. You don't have to watch it. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, you really should. But it's like, well, this is the thing. I don't know. It's not something I knew I was missing, and and it's not. And just because I like it doesn't mean everybody's going to like it. It's.
Well, I would encourage everybody to go and like find a really popular movie of another culture that you don't know about and watch it. Like.
Actually, this is it was because of Nooner. I would hear about movies that I had maybe not heard about before, and I'd seek them out and watch them. Like that's one of the reasons why I saw The Raid Redemption is because it was brought up on the show, and I actually own it on Blu-ray now because it's a great movie.
Is it not amazing?
It is amazing. It is, as the kids used to say, amazeballs.
Yeah, and but
When the fuck
made
did
by a
they
Welsh
say that?
dude.
Around 2003, I think, or 4,
Yeah.
or something like that.
What
Like-
the hell? When the hell did the kids say that?
They never said that. Yeah, they never said that.
Amazeballs. No, actually, it was like around 2005 and 6 or something like that. I heard people say it.
God.
By kids, I mean people in their 20s. I mean, you know.
Well, obviously now, because if you think about it, when you were in your 20s, right, you didn't think of yourself as a kid and used to get pissed off at people who thought of you as a kid. But now that we're all like in our 30s and shit like that, we look at people in their 20s as kids because that's what they are. Well, yeah, I know, Tyson, you were in your 40s.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how old Mr. Marty is.
I'm in my 50s.
Just at the beginning, though.
Bullshit.
I am. So, have you guys ever seen a Korean film?
No, but I'd be certainly open to do so.
Okay, Tyson.
I may have. I'm thinking of. Oh no! Wait. Well, there are ones that I've wanted to see. I think I was like, I had Old Boy kind of queued up to watch it at some point. Is that
Okay.
Korean? Was that Korean? It was Korean.
That is a Korean film. And I remember the first time I saw a Korean film, I was like, this is crazy, like, bat crap, crazy stuff. And it was Volcano High in 2001, and it's basically Harry Potter with martial arts in Korea.
That sounds amazing.
And yeah, super fun. Very fun movie. Not a great movie, but very silly and like, but it's also like you have to adapt your perspective of like, oh, they're mugging to the camera. It's a different sort of medium than Western film, and not better or worse, just different. And then you see, then later on, these films, or I found more interesting films like Old Boy, and then you get to things like The Host. You never saw The Host?
I've seen Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer is the same director as The Host. Jong Boon-ho.
Yeah.
Or Bong Joon-ho, I think. Bong. Yeah. Anyhow.
Director Bong.
But Snowpiercer is a fantastic movie, and you're like, like filmmaking is good. Filmmaking is good filmmaking. And Hunter, if you have not seen Snowpiercer, as a comic book fan or as a movie fan, it's great. It's a really fantastic movie.
A speculative fiction fan, I guess.
And I definitely will now check this out.
And it's based on a French graphic novel.
Yes.
Interpreted by a Korean filmmaker and starring a bunch of Western and Korean, American, English, British, and Korean actors.
Nice.
So good. It's just fantastic. It's great.
I need to see it again. It's been a while. I saw part of The Host and I didn't finish, but I will because I have a copy of it. Sitting on the shelf.
That is just a very fun movie, and it's a little long, but I love it. I've seen it many, many times, and it's really cool. And there's an American actor in it who has been he's done these great. He's got a lazy eye. Jesus Christ, his name is Tim.
Tim
Tim
Guy.
Tim
Tim Pickett Smith.
Poor guy.
He's on Schitt's Creek. No. He's but he's been in like, I think he's been like Coen Brothers movies. Okay, I'm sorry. Paul Lazar. No, he's not been in Coen Brothers movies, but you've seen him in. He's just like he was in Silence of the Lambs. He's got he's one of the deputies with a lazy eye. And he's just such a good actor, and it's cool to see. I don't know. I'm such a nerd. If I see an actor I recognize and I like in anything, I just get really excited. So
that's very I get that a lot. Watching the film when I'd be like, oh, I didn't know this person was going to be in this movie.
When it comes to like actors that I like, I think if I see them in like other movies that I normally wouldn't watch, I probably will just give it a chance only because they're in the movies, and it's like a hit or miss. Like, oh, I really do like this film that I've never seen before, or you know what, I like him, I just don't like this movie. So
liking somebody enough to follow their movie career is generally what gets me to watch things that I might not necessarily gravitate towards. Like, for example, I like Paul Giamatti a lot, and I haven't seen everything he's done, but it did lead me to see American Splendor, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, well, as a comic book person, are you not an Arkham?
Oh,
not Arkham.
Oh, yeah.
But Harvey Pekar fan?
I had not really been aware of Harvey Pekar until the film. I had definitely been aware of R. Crumb. I had seen the Terry Zwigoff documentary a few years back.
Sure.
So I was familiar in that way, and I do like comic book art and comic book related things. So yeah, I did. It kind of was like, what is this? And then its reviews were really interesting, and so yeah, I saw it, and it's like it's very unique because it's like a docudrama, but it's also not. It's got weird kind of meta, kind of behind the scenes stuff where there's like the real people and the actors who play them kind of commiserating, and it's like watching those Björk videos that Michael Gondry makes where there's like a scene within a scene, or like Charlie Kaufman stuff where it's like, Synecdoche, where it's like, here's this in the foreground, and then here's a smaller version in the...
Yeah, and I think
more foreground.
It's because it was made by documentary filmmakers, and they could capture that. But and he's such an amazing actor. But Harvey Pekar was just like, I just remember him from he used to be on Letterman.
Oh yeah.
And back in college, I would watch Letterman late at night, and you'd just be like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And then he would come on, and he was just such a yeah, he was great. He was such like a dynamic, like breath of fresh air of stale air, because he would just be like this, like very sour, like just like angry, not angry, but cranky guy. And then you get to see him in this different on Letterman, and Letterman just loved him.
I think Letterman was actually in the movie as himself when they recreated those scenes.
Oh,
yeah. It's not. I think he did that for the Andy Kaufman movie too. That's kind of nice that they.
Yeah, but it's an amazing movie, and Paul Giamatti is that. I mean, it's stupid that he didn't win an Oscar for that.
Was he nominated for that, or?
I don't know if he's ever been nominated, but he should have been.
There's a great, James Adomian, the comedian, does a great Paul Giamatti impression on Comedy Bang Bang, and there's a whole bit about him not being nominated, but it's just the impression of him is basically makes him seem like he just hates his life. Basically, it's like I'm not a winner. I can't do his voice, but it's by the way, it's not a perfect impression, but it's enough that you can totally evoke Paul Giamatti. It's very,
James Adomian is one of is an amazing talent. Like, if you haven't listened to him, he's so freaking talented. He went through the Groundlings, and but I don't think he made it to become a Groundling. I don't think he made it to the Sunday Company, but he went through that program. But he's such an amazing talent. He's great with voices. He does a great Jesse Ventura.
Oh yeah. Ventura's amazing.
Yeah, and if ever you get a chance, there's Paul F. Tompkins. You're familiar with him, right?
Oh yes.
So he did the Dead Authors podcast. That was basically it was for this 826 LA. It's a literacy program here in LA to basically tutor underprivileged kids in English. And so this podcast was benefiting that. So then these comedians would come on as different sort of characters from literature. And James Adomian was so freaking funny. And let's see, John Hodgman. Are you familiar with John Hodgman? He came on as Ayn Rand.
Oh.
And that was hilarious. And then I think James Adomian did Walt Whitman from Leaves of Grass. The poet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he came in and just was spouting poetry just off the top of his head, amazingly, just was the most beautiful language I had heard, along with the most profane language I've heard, and it was so funny, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard, like in terms of comedy. That's my dog. Sorry about that. But,
to be or not to be, me taking a shit, that is the question.
Exactly. But like, yes, but in the voice of Walt Whitman.
Yeah. was Walt Whitman the one with the barbaric yawp that is a Dead Poet Society thing, or?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I was a science guy. I was a pseudoscience guy in college. I never read no Walt Whitman.
You say you like pseudoscience in high school?
I think I majored in astrology.
Oh, nice. I went through a pretty heavy astrology phase in high school. I also learned to read tarot cards then.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
Oh, it's fine. I don't have my deck anymore. I used to. I did the whole thing where it's like you make a bag for your cards out of a natural fiber, and you
So
sleep with it under a pillow for the. Sorry.
Did you run your cards and it said, and then you're reading your cards and it said you will stop believing after 6 months, and you did?
Yes. Yes, and.
Tyson has, gave his soul to the Dark Lord. That's what really happened.
Well done.
Thank you.
It's a nice effect. That's right. Hunter has effects now.
Oh, I thought that was a vocal tick.
Oh, being able to start.
I got sound effects to make you wet, motherfuckers.
Now, can you hear that when he does that? Does that you hear the? Okay, go ahead. Just making sure, because if the guests can't hear the effect in that.
What's that ruckus?
There's ruckus occurring? Maybe me humming. I don't know. What did you hear?
It sounded like there was a tidal wave striking your home.
Oh no, everything's fine here. Oh yeah, we are in a tsunami area, but I didn't hear anything over in this end. Did it sound like some white noise coming through the headphones or something?
No, I don't know.
You're just being funny. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm just so curious about Arcata.
Yeah, ask anything.
The farthest north I've been was Sea Ranch, which is not anywhere near Arcata, I guess. It's probably a couple hours south of Arcata. How far are you from the coast?
From the Pacific coast?
Yeah, from the beach.
From the beach?
Yeah.
2.5, 3 miles.
All right.
The dunes are that way. It's right on the. So in the map of California, there's the San Francisco Bay, and it's kind of a little taken out of the land there. And if you go up towards where Eureka is, there's another tinier. There's a tinier one. I'm on the north side of that. So, yeah.
So how far are you from Wairika?
Oh well, Wairika's up I don't even know if that's Del Norte County. It's north. It's northeast, I think, and it's probably. I've never been there, so I might have been through there once. I think it's on the 5. Let's see here.
Okay, but you grew up in Arcata?
Yes, I'm here for 24 years. It is 4 hours and 11 minutes. It is 199 miles. It is almost 200 miles to Wairika, which is north of Redding along the 5. I'm along the 101. So.
But you grew up in Arcata, but you've been there for 24 years.
No, I had been there for 24 years, and then I moved to Washington at the end of 1998.
Sorry,
okay.
My wife was yelling at me.
That's fine. I understand. I was what was the question? 1998. Yes. Okay, so I moved away in 1998, and then I lived up in Washington for like 15 years, and then moved back down in 2015.
What did you do in Washington?
Just kept on living, basically. I mean, you mean like did I have a career or anything? No, nothing like that. Like I did a lot of karaoke, did a lot of drinking.
Oh, very good.
Well, not a lot of drinking, but I started creating music actually. Now I think about it, while I was in Washington, because I didn't really do that heavily, and while I was still living here, but that was more like around the year 2000.
Aha! I knew it.
So like
all the creative people have drinking problems or substance abuse problems.
Yeah, my wife just said you sound drunk.
Did I sound drunk?
No, my wife said that about me.
Oh, you sound drunk.
Yeah.
Now let me. No, go ahead.
How do you think you sound, Marty?
I only know what the externalities, how other people perceive me. I cannot say.
Oh, fair enough.
Now, is this a more like kind of relaxed atmosphere than let's say doing a live podcast every day?
But aren't we live right now, or no?
No, we're not. We are not live, sir.
Oh,
just among ourselves.
No, it's just different in the morning. It's certainly different in the morning.
Yeah, the idea of doing it in the morning makes me uncomfortable. but I suppose I could figure out. I mean, I'm going to be up anyway. My sleeping schedule is different now, so it's fine. I mean, I guess it's not that strange. I am up earlier than I normally am on Tuesdays. What am I even thinking about right now? I don't know. So being
and you know what? Mm-hmm. You know what? Even if you are a little drunk, that's okay, because there was a strange time. No, not you, him, Marty. There was a episode of Strange Times where Sam was like so blitzed that she didn't even realize she was doing a podcast.
Who? What? Oh, Strange Times. Where there's another podcast that we listen to called Strange Times. It's from Britain, and it's almost at 300 episodes now. And Davian Dent, Kat Sorens, and Samantha Pett were hosting it for a long time, the three of them. Now it's just Davian and Kat. It's something, if you've not heard before, you might enjoy. It's hard to know where to start. Just start at any point, really, and then if you like it, go forwards or backwards. I mean,
Well, I think drunk English people sound so much more, put together than an American.
Well, see, that's the thing. Davian is actually sworn off booze now.
Oh.
So he used to be blitzed doing the show, but now he's so there's a very sober type Davian Dent that's on Strange Times right now.
Well, I've got to hear that. So no pills either, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Nope. Straight and narrow, baby.
Wow.
I'm out.
What was in the that oatmeal or that oat type concoction that Giselle used to bring in, the blueberry, the people would call it the blue vomit stuff. I mean, it sounded delicious, but it also.
So we have a guest who used to come on the show a lot and hasn't been on in a while, named Giselle, and she was a button maker from Germany, and she would come in with it was just oatmeal with a bunch of blueberries in it, and she would eat it, and it looked disgusting, and because if you just look at oatmeal in a Tupperware, it just looks like gray goo.
I guess so, yeah.
And then. Yeah,
I like oatmeal. I eat it every morning nowadays. It's probably healthy for me to do that. It's probably helping me lose all that weight. I used to be heavier. Yeah, because Giselle is also one half of that Dynamite Cop team, Chopsticks and Haggis.
Oh yes. You can look on YouTube for previous episodes. I think there are probably like 300 episodes on YouTube.
On YouTube, really?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I love YouTube.
Yeah. So, well, Hunter's probably heard Chopsticks and Haggis. That's still on my SoundCloud site. But Neuter Broadcast Network, I don't know. That was when Bill was still around, actually. There was Bill was there, and sorry, I was like Dorothy at the end of Wizard of Oz. Bill, and you were there, and you were there. You weren't there. I don't know who you are. Oh, Marty, speaking of Wizard of Oz, in a very strange roundabout way, so Hunter and I are a certain amount apart in age, and then you and I are a certain amount apart in age, which means you got to see things like you got to watch Letterman at a different time period than I did, presumably because I was too young, and yada yada. So, like, there's this time period I found where, like, the roots of what would eventually become Saturday Night Live, there were these films, these 3 experimental films. One was The Groove Tube, one was Kentucky Fried Movie, and the other was Dynamite Chicken. And these all had, like, little seeds of, like, eventually what would become, I guess, kind of the more or less what Saturday Night Live sort of coalesced into, or at least that aesthetic, but they're all very, like, kind of really subversive and interesting art/comedy movies. And I'm wondering if you had the chance to see any of them.
Oh, yeah. So Saturday Night Live started in 74, I believe.
And 75. Yeah.
75.
Yeah.
And Groove Tube was like 76.
Something like that.
And then around the same time was Kentucky Fried Movie. Not familiar with the what was the third one?
Dynamite Chicken. It's a little bit more obscure. Richard Pryor is in it, like really young Richard Pryor.
But yeah, like I remember Groove Tube Chevy Chase was in that,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah.
And it was okay, yeah. But
Weird.
Certainly Kentucky Fried Movie resonated with me because that was the Zaz group. They were out of Michigan. It was the Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams. Is that right, Jim Abrams?
Yeah.
And it was a sketch comedy thing that was very profane, a lot of boobs, but also it had a send up of Enter the Dragon.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I think
Yes.
and
A Fistful of Yen.
Fistful of Yen. And as an Asian American kid growing up, to see a show like that or a video like that where the comedy wasn't out of making fun of Asian people necessarily the way that like 16 Candles did years later,
Right.
but it was really about making fun of the genre of martial arts movies, and it was very smartly done and at the same time idiotic. And I encourage everybody to watch it. It's very funny, very silly. So the Zaz guys went on to direct Airplane and the Naked Gun movies, and they're just they created their own genre of comedy.
And Ghost.
And and Ghost, yeah, which is a perfect movie. I love Ghost.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but this was the apex, or no, the beginning of their silliness, and it's like there's just so much crazy stuff, very pushing a boundary, but without being offensive, and at the same time probably pretty offensive. But at the time it was groundbreaking for me.
And it had a Wizard of Oz reference in it that I won't.
Oh yes, yes. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
And you were there, and you were there.
Yeah, and that was like so exciting to see, and because like there's this Asian dude dressed up like Dorothy, and you're like, what? And it was like it was very liberating to see. Yeah, because that was not a part of media then, you know.
He has that great speech at the end, like being a civic, doing your civic duty and stuff, and you know, and donate.
Start a labor.
Start a labor union. Yeah. You had a dream of most extraordinary magnitude. It's just like his blowtorch hand comes into frame, and he like it kind of pushes out.
Oh my god! Yeah.
That was a great film. That was amazing. But Ace Trucking Company was like one of the sketch comedy groups that was in Dynamite Chicken, and that included Fred Willard. So, and the movie was much more loosely held together than even like a collection of sketches. It was also like poetry and like it had like clips of Leonard Cohen and Lenny Bruce and Michael O'Donoghue stabbing needles into his eyes. I'm like, this guy. Michael O'Donoghue, I think, contributed to it, and it had Al who did Screw Magazine? Al Goldman?
Yeah. Al Goldstein and
Al Goldstein. Yeah, it was sort of that
yeah.
kind of, and then meanwhile it's interspersed with like a 18 to 20-year-old Richard Pryor doing just little bits on the street, and kind of like they're following him around with a camera, and he's just leaning up against a chain, link fence and doing the little bits here and there and moving to another place. And it was really, different, very different, and also much looser, I guess, than even the Groove Tube or Kentucky Fried Movie were, because it wasn't really like a I don't know how it.
There was a bunch of subversive movies that came out in the 60s and 70s about comedy that really defined comedy that led into Saturday Night Live. And if you watch SNL in its first few years, you had short films made by Albert Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
You had like these weird things, these sketches that weren't necessarily funny, but they were like send-ups of, like Sissy Spacek was on with like John Belushi, and they were doing sort of what's the guy who did True West? Sam Shepard play.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't funny at all, but the sketch went on for like probably, I don't know, 8 minutes, which is long for a sketch, but it was like kind of just a Sam Shepard play, and you're like, this isn't funny, but like you're watching it, and like
interesting.
It's and like it's very hard to create consistent comedy from week to week for sketch to sketch,
Oh yeah, it must be.
Yeah, but they were taking a lot more risks back then, as opposed to just doing Trump impressions and which
are pretty funny.
Yeah, they can be, but it's a little bit easier to generate that content as opposed to like creating something from just like culture, So
yeah, they were saying something about Saturday Night Live being like the TV kid generation that grew up watching TV and hating it, and therefore wanting to make fun of TV.
Right.
To some degree.
Right.
Like that was something I read in one of the books about the first 10 years of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I think that's a really good description of it. Yeah. They were making fun of sitcoms and everything, and now they're just I mean, it still can be very funny, for sure, but it's kind of less daring, I would say. I don't know if you feel that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really, I haven't really watched a whole episode of Saturday Night Live in a long time, and I used to love it. Like, I think everybody has their era of Saturday Night Live that they would watch the most of, and then they just sort of stop watching.
Well, Hunter, what is your era of SNL?
Probably the 90s.
Like who?
Adam Sandler.
Oh, sure.
Chris Farley.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that other guy that played with Chris Farley and all those?
David Spade.
Yep.
Mike Myers.
Myers. Yep.
Yeah, it's a golden age. That's an amazing time.
Mine was like between 1987 and 1994, I'd say. I think that was a pretty good swath. Started with like, when I got to start recording them, because I'd seen stuff from slightly earlier, like with the Dick Ebersol years, and then like the first year Lauren was back, where we hired like Robert Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall and Randy Quaid and Joan Cusack and Damon Wayans.
Isn't that insane to think about that?
Yes, yeah. It is. And I've seen a couple of these episodes. I had them somewhere. Somebody taped them for me off Comedy Central, and I was just like watching it going, it's Robert Downey Jr. It's like, it's what the hell is going on?
Yeah, Anthony Michael Hall at like 17 or 18 or whatever he was, maybe 19, but just like, out of his depth and in New York and doing tons of drugs.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah.
It was definitely an interesting looking cast. Very different than the stuff I was used to seeing, people who hadn't really been established. And I'm pretty sure that like Robert Downey Jr. and at least it's like Randy Quaid had been acting since what, the late 70s or something. The last Detail with Jack Nicholson, that was in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't even know if that was his first movie, but it was a while ago. I mean, who was in the Last Picture Show with the Peter Bogdanovich movie?
That's like 69 or 70 or 71, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, he's been around, and it's like these are. it was used to be like, who are these people? It's actually one of the reasons why I like the new Ghostbusters, because it's like I didn't know who Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis. I'd never seen Stripes. I was too young. It was 1984. I was 10 years old, so it was an R-rated movie. Didn't see it. Ghostbusters, PG, can see that. This is a great film. But I didn't. It was like, this isn't a perfect film that is beyond reproach that I can, that's a new version of it's going to destroy it. And all of them were from Saturday Night Live, so they're keeping with the theme of getting people from Saturday Night Live. The original one?
Hell yeah.
And then, the new one wasn't bad. I thought it was funny. I laughed a lot of times. I liked the interplay between Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig and the blonde one whose name I can never remember, and Leslie Jones. I
don't have a problem with the all-female cast.
Which one is that? Is that Ernie?
This is Humphrey.
Humphrey. Hi, Humphrey. Nice to see you. Oh, and my kid's down here on the floor. Hold on.
I love pets. Actually, in June I am moving into with 3 cats.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cat
So
Powers, Cat Stevens.
You're
and
moving from your place to a new place.
To a new place, yes. With my fiance, and she has 3 cats, or we have 3 cats now, actually, as it were. So.
And are you moving to a different town?
Yes.
And
I currently reside in Bordentown. I'm moving to Freehold.
Okay, I just need exits. I'm sorry.
No, that actually is a thing for you, Tyson, in Jersey. It matters what exit you get off of. You literally, when you're on the parkway, not so much the turnpike, but when you're on the parkway, depending on what exit you get off of, you will literally be judged by a ton of people who you don't even know, and people that do know you. They're like, oh, he's getting off exit 117. He's a down the shore dirt bag, or if you're, God forbid, come from Kingsburg, like I do and Jay Muse does, you're like fucking Kingsburg riffraff. So, I mean, even like Kevin Smith came from the Highlands. So if you're from like the Highlands, you are like considered poor white trash. But if you're from Atlantic Highlands, you're like upper middle class. It's the weirdest thing.
Yes, and people judge you by what exit you're from.
Correct.
But it's just like it's a crazy Jersey's. I mean, it's a beautiful state. It's the Garden State.
Thank you.
And yeah, and I was, the last time I was there was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it was for my aunt's funeral in Red Bank. And I was like, oh, maybe I should stop into the comic book store. And it's like, no, I'm here for a funeral.
Yeah, go see East Coast Marty.
Yeah.
My office is in
guy.
My
actually.
condolences, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yes, likewise. But yeah, my office is in Red Bank.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
and in fact, my new Sunday tradition is, because I used to live in Kingsburg, obviously, which is like 10 minutes from Red Bank. But when I moved to Bordentown, that's an hour from Red Bank. So it's luckily I don't have to go to my office every single day. But since my fiance lives halfway from, here to Red Bank or whatever have you, that's why every Sunday I do go to the stash. So I've been like a real regular again. It's been really cool. Of course, Sunday Jeff is there, and his cousin's there. So
Oh yeah,
Mike is usually there on Sunday Jeff. So
yeah, you should try to get on that shared universe podcast thing that they got going on.
Yes. Well,
I don't know how hard
Mike
it is
does.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, Mike does work on Saturdays, so if I can find a time to get over there on Saturdays, I can always ask him about it.
Yeah, definitely. It would be amazing. We could get some kind of a crossover going. Maybe. Who knows? But it would just be, I mean, you've got access to the area, so you get to just kind of like, it's almost, to me, it feels like it'd be like living next door to Disneyland on some level. It's like, I can go
dude.
wherever I want, whenever I want. It's there. There's the mountain, high people on the Matterhorn. Hello.
Well, especially when I moved to Freehold. Especially when I moved to Freehold, that's only like 20 minutes from Red Bank, so all that stuff will be now even more accessible than it was before. So
you're looking forward to it?
Hell yeah!
Oh, good.
I'm going to live in a stash, yo.
Yeah, but the cats.
Yeah, the cats. we got 3 of them.
Oh, do you not like cats? Or?
No, I love cats. I've had cats growing up, but
3.
I mean, I've always had more dogs than cats. But she's a cat person, so.
Cat people putting out the fire.
And have you figured out where you're going to put all your stuff?
Yeah, it's all going with me.
Right, but I
Well,
mean, I
some
know it's all
stuff-
going with you, but
Some stuff will be left behind here, so.
See,
very good.
See, it's easy because I can just go through the magical portal, the big door there, and then I'm somewhere where there's a lot more room.
Well, it's called Narnia.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
called Narnia.
Actually, I keep yarn in there mostly.
Yarnia.
I got a
I'm
lot
sorry.
of yarn. It is a yarnia kind of.
Well, the thing about it is,
I got yarn right over there.
so this is a 1-bedroom pad is what we're moving into, but it has a washer, dryer, dishwasher, all that stuff I requested, and of course it has what could either be like a formal dining room or a den or whatever you want to have, or your common living room or formal living room, whatever. It's not going to have that since I'm taking it over as my podcast studio, so I will have that room.
So you're moving into a new place together. So neither of you have lived there.
Correct.
Well, I think that is a good. That's a good plan, and that's what my wife and I did. We moved into a new place together.
Nice.
And that way nobody can be like, "What are you doing? Why are you putting that stuff there?" And I think that's a good starting point. I think.
Exactly, especially before you get married.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, how long have you been married now, Marty?
35 years.
Holy shit! That's like my lifespan, just about.
No, 2.5 years.
Oh, 2.5 years.
Yeah, I got married late. Yeah.
I procreated
I'm actually working on wife number 2 actually right now. So, and this is the last one for me because I'm like 38 years old, so I'm not going through that shit again.
You might as well die. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this one right here, this is it for me. I'm not doing this shit again. So,
I'm husband number 2.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah. I'm very grateful. I had no wife until I was 48. So.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, here I am.
Congratulations. It's really
Yes,
it's
yes.
it's these phases in our lives where they really kind of like give us perspective on the rest of the life or the previous part of the life where it's like, so this is me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And it's not a problem that she had 7 husbands before me, and that's fine. She's a lot younger than me. She's 23.
Yeah.
But I think it's really going to work out. So I'm very excited.
Awesome.
Are you serious on the age part?
No, I'm not serious on anything.
He's got a very
shit.
dry sense of humor. It's
Because
it's gonna-
Hunter,
only
don't-
because if it was the truth, I wouldn't feel so bad because sometimes, because I am 38 years old and my fiance is in fact 30. So she was 28 or 29 and sometimes I feel like I'm robbing the cradle here.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So
8 years difference.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
There's 6 years
Yeah.
between my wife and I.
Yeah, no, there's 7 years between my wife and me, and yeah.
okay, good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I feel better.
6, 7, 8.
But not like 20 years or 27 years. Yeah, that would be a little creepy. Yeah.
I don't know. It happens. It's hard to say. I mean, it's
Actually, it is a trend I heard where younger women are starting to date older guys.
I think it happens all the time. I mean, back in 1998, I read a poem about the trend in movies for to where the leading men and the actresses were getting further and further apart in age. Like in A Perfect Murder, Michael Douglas and Gwyneth Paltrow. There's that big thing. Harrison Ford and Anne Heche in 6 Days, 7 Nights. These are all around the same time period. It's like 96 or something, 96, 97.
Yeah, and I think that's a reflection more on Hollywood than it is on real life.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, it was just something that's like going, I don't know, because somebody noticed, I'm like, oh, yeah, it is happening a lot. And it's like, well, I guess it's just a thing. It's not like when, it's not like when they're like, oh, this studio's making a movie about Robin Hood. We need to make one too. It's like, oh, it's older man, younger woman. We need one of those. It's not probably not the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. People need to stop talking shit about Robert Costner's fucking Robin Hood. That was a shit.
Robert Costner? Who's that?
Yeah,
Kevin.
Kevin Costner.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, I
now
bastardized that shit all to hell.
now you've got Pete Davidson with Kate Beckinsale.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was with Len Wiseman for a long time. Like they made movies together, the Underworld movies and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they made Total Recall together. Were they split up by that point? Or
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not into the goss.
She doesn't return my calls, but yeah.
Well, maybe if you stop stalking her, she'll,
I'm broadcasting in her dining room right now, and I'm like, what? Where is she? And why do the cops keep coming by?
So the sirens we were hearing earlier actually were coming from Marty's stream. You see, that's what.
Ixnay on the iron say.
Oops, hey. Oops. So let's see. Nooner, Ding Dong Chomp, Star Wars Holiday Special, Thugs of Hindustan. What is Ding Dong Chomp something that's happening regularly? Because I honestly my listenership has fallen off, and I apologize for that.
Oh no, that is partly on me, and we have I have several that I have just not released yet, and this is the food podcast I'm doing, and with my friend Steve Kruger, and we have many more to do, and we want to do videos, and so yeah, it's something that is right on the horizon. It's hard to. I'm sure you guys encounter this a lot. It's just hard to keep doing stuff, and because life happens.
Life happens.
That's very true.
That's kind of our motto on the show is pretty much life happens. More or less.
Yep.
And then and you look at the people who, I mean, it's amazing that people can make a living off of doing this. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube people that do incredible things, but it's just it requires a lot of work and a lot of faith and
content
and that it's hard that just requires time. And time is in short supply.
Never seen.
But the wise podcaster knows that everything in life is content.
Sure.
That's why
Sure.
I have cameras on me all the time.
Never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them.
That's true.
But I hope, Tyson, that you are chronicling every minute of your son's life, and putting it, streaming it, monetizing it, and creating swag and T-shirts and hats, and because he deserves that.
Well, I will now. I mean, yeah. No, I've been definitely taking a lot of video of him, just kind of doing his tummy time, basically. And
But for you,
right, for me, yeah, and audio. I make a lot of audio of he's starting to vocalize a bit now, so
that's so exciting.
It's almost
That's awesome.
words. It's almost words, and he's so quiet most of the time. He's such a well-behaved.
Well, if
person.
you would shut up just for 10 seconds, maybe he would get in a word edgewise.
It's a good point. It's an excellent point. Hunter, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was about to say that's the future host of Antisocial Show right there.
Hell yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, you know what I mean? Tyson are so old and gray that we just can't do the show anymore, so he could just take it over.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. So Jareth will take it over, yeah. Maybe he'll even start calling it the Goblin King or something. Who knows?
There you go.
And have you come up with a shortened version of Jareth?
No. It's just Jareth. It's, I mean, my dad's name is Jerry, and my brother's name is Theo, so the two kind of make a Jareth anyway, but it is a reference to David Bowie from Labyrinth. So
you can actually call him J-Bomb.
J-Bomb. Somehow that seems the same length as Jareth. All right, we're talking about a shortening. Just call him Jay. I don't know.
Well, it's funny. My ex had 2 kids, and of course I thought of them as my kids. But anyway, the youngest, he's sitting on my lap one day. We're all outside at this barbecue, and he's sitting on my lap, and I'm like, "Your name is Bond, James Bond." So, and of course, in those days, he had a little bit of a speech problem. So he goes, "I'm J-Bomb." So going forward, that was his nickname.
Nice.
That's how a lot of nicknames come about.
It's true.
Absolutely.
And eek names. Nicknames used to be called eek names. That's true. That is a thing. I know it's we've all been very dry with each other, but that is an absolute true thing. It's
I don't believe you, and go f- yourself and bleep that out. I will continue profanities and f- y'all.
well, that's about all the time we have for Antisocial Show. I'm Tyson Sainer.
And I'm Hunter Block.
And I'm that fucking asshole who says bullshit profanities just to make Tyson's job more fucking difficult. Marty.
Be decent to each other.
Absolutely.
Have a good time, folks.